They need to go ahead and make that move like we discussed yesterday and go after not an all-star, but just some good
Just some
NBA
vets.
veterans that know how to fucking win.
God, he lost to the
Damn.
Wizards. Goodness.
All right, we are live.
What's going on, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? My name's Mike Jimenez. This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from West San Antonio, West Side, and West Bear County. Dude, my voice is gone right now. It's not because I was screaming during the Spurs collapse of the Washington Wizards last night. I think this is allergies. For the first time this season, the allergy bug came up and bit me on the ass. I feel like trash, but you know what? You gave me some Zyrtec, Joe. Joe producing today's show. I'm going to man up. I'm going to do this show. We're going to do this show well. We're talking sports, pop culture, nostalgia. We're talking lots of things going on, and this is the thing. This is the first episode. It was like episode 70 or something to that effect,
73,
right?
yeah, 73.
Our first episode that is solely on YouTube. We cut Twitter. We cut Facebook out.
Cut the cord, baby.
We are now solely on YouTube. Well, first of all, Twitter was erasing our feed the second the show was over.
That's weird.
It was weird. And then Facebook gives us no content as far as like things that we can show potential sponsors. They give us no statistics. So it has to be on YouTube. But if you're part of the YouTube party, you can also leave a comment or two on our chat line.
Look at what they're saying about your son.
Okay. They're trying to bait me into a conversation about this.
Jeremy Sohan
had 2 points last night. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Spurs, their epic collapse last night. They had a chance to have their first winning streak since December of 2022.
And what did you say? Winning streak is
three games.
Okay.
It's not back to back. It is 3 games. And they failed yesterday. They lost in the fourth quarter, outscored 31-20, losing 118-113 to the Washington Wizards. We'll get into that. Tomorrow, the NBA All-Star reserves will be announced.
I got my fingers crossed.
Did Wemby do enough?
Prende la vela, dude. You got to light the candles. You got them, light them up.
Got to do something. And on top of that, did you see the statistics for the sales of Victor Wembanyama jerseys? We'll tell you where he ranks in the top 20, top 10, dare I say, maybe even top 5 of all jersey sales out there. It's a good article by Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. Follow him at Jeff G. Spurzone.
Give some love to Jeff, man. We got to have him back on the show, dude. I don't know why we haven't had him on.
We do. I talked to them about it yesterday, so we'll get him on pretty soon.
Hey, we
have a special guest.
Who is it?
Carolina Teague.
Hey, Tuesdays with Teague.
CT has a new handle on X/Twitter.
Oh, really?
Kind of interesting. She's CT the Mike Slayer.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I like that. You know what? She needs to have like a profile pic where she's holding a knife.
Oh,
like
God.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer from back in the day. Something to that effect.
With the mic.
That's true.
Hey, Jeff posted this yesterday too. He had posted that they're gonna have a Spurs Coyote Funko Pop that'll be coming out soon.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. I got a Spurs Coyote bobblehead back here, but I'm gonna get the Funko Pop. I'll put it next to the Timmy and the George Gervin one that I got.
Dude, the Coyote making national headlines the other day because he caught the bat.
Did he need rabies, though? Did he get rabies? They need the rabies shot?
You know what? A friend of mine was asking me that question. And I was like, no, they got the suit on. I'm sure that's some sort of protection.
What if that little fucker bit it through the suit? You know? Hey, did you see your son, Jeremy Sohan, on the court?
Oh, yeah. He went to go look at it.
Scared. He was scared of the damn thing. It was flying.
Yeah.
It came like near him, and he's like,
Yeah, Bill Land was like, do not touch it. It was so funny.
Well, I mean, come on, man. You think all the money that they would have spent on that damn place, they can't keep bats out of that shit? Like, come on.
Now, we'll talk a little bit about football. Not only the Super Bowl 58 coming up next week, Niners against the Chiefs, but there have been named replacements when it comes to the NFL Pro Bowl team. And we joked about the fact that the Cowboys had 7 Pro Bowlers, right? Okay, they were one of the best teams in the NFL this season during the regular season. So 7, fine. But now they have 10. 3 Cowboys added to the Pro Bowl. We'll talk about that as well.
But do they deserve it?
Yes. Now, I mentioned Carolina Teague is going to be on. I asked for her to come up with a tall tale. A Carolina tall tale that everyone does not believe, but it actually did happen. My tall tale yesterday was the fact that I mentioned the fact that I feel like a story that I produced at KSAT 12 in the late 90s helped influence the Spurs to retire Johnny Moore's jersey. Dude, last night I was talking to Jeff Garcia. He was driving to the Frost Bank Center, and he was there telling me, he was like, Jimenez, dude, it sounds so stupid. And I was breaking it down for him. I said, Jeff, you are an attorney. Let me put you on the witness stand here. A, did I work at KSAT back in the day? Yes. Was I a producer of a sports show? Yes. Was it a popular sports show? Yes. Did I, in fact, do an interview with Johnny Moore? Yes. Was that then fronted by Greg Simmons? Probably, yes. Okay. The Spurs making an announcement a couple of days later. Is that at the very least, a coincidence? I'm not saying it's the reason. The worst, best case scenario for me, I am one of the reasons why. Worst case scenario for me is that it's just one hell of a coincidence. That's basically it. I
think it's just one hell of a coincidence, man.
Yeah, 48 hours later, bullshit. I told Jeff, yeah, they had a meeting there, at the Alamo Dome. They had a meeting and then they talked about it. They're like, you know what?
What's his name? Mikey Menace was right.
Well, they didn't know that it was me. It was fronted as though Greg Simmons did the interview. It was fronted as though Greg Simmons was doing it all. It was really me, but it was voiced by Greg. Completely different thing, man. If you take a look at the top right of our page here at the Alamo City Sportscast, there's a QR code where you can buy us a coffee. It's a good way of tipping us. Let us to give us a big thank you for doing the show. Again, we don't pay our bills with this, but it does help pay for studio equipment and things like that. And we're going to get to the Drew show because he has a chat, a super chat. We'll get to that in one quick second. We're also going to talk about the controversy on Twitter yesterday about whether or not I blocked a particular person, and I have no idea how that happened or what happened, but we made amends yesterday. We
love you, Matt Lerma.
We kissed and made up yesterday. I don't know what happened, dude. I thought that this was all Photoshop. It was so funny.
You need to take better care of your Twitter. Like honestly, Mike doesn't know what the hell he's doing with the X, man. It has a mind of its own.
It does. But on top of that, here's the thing. My Twitter is open over here at your house. It could have been you.
Oh, I don't mess with your
It could have been you.
No, man.
It could have been you.
I don't mess with your stuff, bro. I'm like right after the show, I'm logging in, getting ready to work. You know? I work from like 12 to 10 o'clock at night, man. So I'm like, I got no time, bro.
Is my voice going? It kind of feels like it is.
Oh, that's just an excuse because you got that little cup. You got chiflao now. You want a little pour.
Oh my God. You should see what I had for breakfast this morning. Oh, the little pour. I wanted something healthy. I just wanted to have something healthy.
You went to eat at Sazone again.
Oh my God, Sazone is so good. I went there on Sunday.
You take the boy there. Maybe see if he likes the enchiladas.
Yeah, but they're not open for dinner right now. So if I take them, it has to be like on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
But I enjoy them. The chicken enchiladas there were really good. Now I wanted something healthy. I'm trying to take a 1 week break from tacos.
Just eat the meat, but don't eat the tacos.
No, it's kind of hard too. It just tempts you. It's just right there.
Just fold it up in lettuce like a wrap.
I just want 1 week of clean eating and not that much drinking. Man. That's all I want.
Well, you didn't drink when we went out to the Spurs.
Well, I had beer. I had a couple of mixed drinks, and then I went out with my friend the next night. We were watching the game. We were taking shots. I need to stop that. I really do, because I have plateaued on the weight loss. I'm still at the lowest point that I've been this year. I'm still there. But I haven't broken through despite all the refereeing, and it's because I'm eating like crap. It's because I'm drinking too much.
Got to have the eye of the tiger, man.
Well, so this morning, I'm driving out here. So I live off of Petrenko. You live off Petrenko. It's about a 4-mile drive down to get to your house. And as I'm driving by, I'm passing Smoothie King. And I love Smoothie King. James Pledger and I, when I was over at San Antonio Sports Star, we would do that all the time. And I pulled over, and they have what's called a PB Blast.
Okay.
Dude,
sounds good.
It's not a smoothie. It's a bowl.
Yeah.
It's a bowl with like this, I don't know, this yogurt on the bottom.
Yeah.
It comes with a whole banana, comes with blueberries, comes with strawberries, and it's drizzled with peanut butter on top and then topped with granola. I looked it up. It was only 500 calories. which isn't bad for
It's
a
not
breakfast.
bad.
But that's one chorizo and egg taco right there, right? That's only 500 calories, and I feel not like crap today. Because that's the thing about sometimes eating too much Mexican food.
Weighs you down.
It weighs you down. It goes down. It's delicious, but then you feel like crap sometimes a couple of hours later. Yeah. So I'm going to try to be healthy between now and the end of the week. Just cleanse me out, I guess is what I'm saying here.
I forgot I got to go ahead and send the link to CT right now. I'm like, you're talking. I'm like, oh shit, how are we gonna get her on?
Yeah, Carolina will be on in about 5 minutes or so. So we're gonna get her on.
My bad.
We're gonna let her know. So again, we're talking a lot about the Spurs, about the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl 58 coming up next week. I was invited. One of my best friends texted me this morning.
Yeah,
he was asking me if I want to go to Kansas City for the Super Bowl.
Hey man, they were just saying how expensive those tickets are.
Well, it's not to go to the game.
Yeah.
See, we have my friend's cousin who I know very well. She's an actress. She lives in Kansas City. So we thought about it, and he was asking me the question, have I ever been to a city that was celebrating the Super Bowl that day? I was in New York City the day of the helmet catch.
Damn.
When the Giants beat the New England Patriots, the Patriots going for the perfect season, that epic catch, the Eli Manning heroics and all of that, Manningham and all of that stuff. I was in New York City. I was actually in Brooklyn when that all happened, and I was visiting some friends out there. They happened to be New England Patriots fans, so it was so awkward because I was in a city that's celebrating, but they were all pissed off because they were Patriots fans who happened to live in New York.
Look at this, man. Tim Gonzalez, the tall story of Mike Jimenez dating strippers. Hard to believe, but I believe he took money from Dan Cook.
Okay, well, first of all, I did not date strippers. I unknowingly dated a stripper.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Okay, I did not know that she was doing that on the side. She told me that she was a receptionist for her parents' company, which was true. She did that from 8 to 5.
But her night job,
her side hustle, was walking the stage at Giorgio's. I did not know that I had done that. Now, the story about me taking money from Dan Cook, I didn't take money from him. He took money from me.
He's a hustler.
He took like $1 or $2 a day. And keep in mind, back in the 90s, minimum wage was like $4.25. Taking $1 or $2 is taking a lot of my money.
Quarter of your earnings for the day. Hey, let's read some of these comments from the Drew Show.
Yeah, super chats coming in. So Drew Show saying, yesterday, Joe and I discussed players seeking stops, not buckets. Spurs led for 90% of the game last night, lost because they looked for buckets, not stops. And then we're going to address another one of Drew's chats talking about my haunted iPhone. We're going to talk about that one a little bit later. We'll talk about that one later. That's a good one, Drew. I like that one. But let's get into that, and let's bring on Carolina Teague. CT, the Mike Slayer in the house. What's going on, Carolina?
Hey, guys.
The Mike Slayer. We like your new handle.
We like it. We like it a lot. So we were saying that you need to do a side-by-side pose of you doing the same pose that Sarah Michelle Gellar did for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and do a side instead of the knife or the blade, it'd be a microphone.
Man, Carolina, your workspace is so clean. Did you just clean?
Yes, I actually did.
Because I'm like, usually it's not that clean, girl. Don't be lying.
And her hair is lush today. I think it's like freshly washed.
Se bañó. She came.
I cleaned. You guys have a brand new me today. CT the Mike Slayer.
You probably woke up at like 6 o'clock, playing Selena, Tejano, putting Fabuloso.
She cleaned the house like Salma Hayek in Fools Rush In. She was doing the dance, cleaning dishes. The Spurs lost last night, 118-113. Not going to rehash the whole game, but the Spurs were at some point up by about 13 in the first quarter. Led most of the game, led by double digits late in the third. Even midway through the fourth quarter, up about 8 to 9 points, and then just wet the bed the rest of the way. The Wizards came back to win 118-113. Kyle Kuzma came up big in the fourth quarter, 18 points on the night. You had Tyus Jones going off for 15 points against the Spurs, going up against his brother. On the Spurs side, a couple things. I mean, Wemby had what is a traditional Wemby game. 22 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. He literally got his averages. Those are his like averages, right? He averages about 21 points per game. He got 22. He averages 10 rebounds a game. He got 11. He averages 3 blocks per game. He got 3. It was like a normal Wemby game. Devin Vassell balled out yesterday. 24 points on 9 of 19 shooting. Also had 5 rebounds and 4 assists. C.D. Osman had himself a game. Lots of people on Twitter last night were there saying they better not let go of this guy, because isn't C.D. Osman that one guy that you think, you know what? If there's another team that's willing to offer a first-round draft pick, wouldn't it be for C.D.? Because he's a good veteran player. Last night, 8 for 12, knocked down 4 3-pointers, 20 points. But the glaring part right there is the front court for the Spurs. The 2 starting forwards, Julian Champagnie, Jeremy Sochan, combined for just 5 points. Champagnie with 3, Sochan with just 2. Those 2 points coming off a dunk. Only shot 7 attempts yesterday. That being said, the Spurs were on pace to have their 3rd win in a row. It would have been their first winning streak since December of 2022. Didn't happen. And this just plays in line because the Wizards coming in. I mean, think about this. They beat one of the best teams in the West in the Minnesota T-Wolves. A dramatic victory, a come-from-behind victory, and then they lose to the second worst team in the very next game at home, a Wizards team that is now 9-37, of a record similar to that of the Spurs. This is hurtful as a Spurs fan. This is painful because the Spurs had won back-to-back games. The Spurs were looking like they were turning the corner a bit. They beat a really good team who has multiple all-stars on that roster. And then they wet the bed against the Washington Wizards.
They don't know how to win, bro. They don't know how to win.
Carolina, is that simply it? They just don't know how to win?
Well, this comes with time and development, not knowing how to close out games. There's small mistakes that happen towards the end of the games that the Spurs have had issues with in their rebuild phase, which we've seen time and time again. So this isn't surprising that they have this strong lead and then they aren't able to maintain it in the 4th quarter. This is, a tale as old as time as far as the rebuild phase has been concerned. So this isn't quite surprising to me. What was more surprising were the wins, to be honest with you. The wins were more surprising to me than the lead not being able to be held on to this past game. So all in all, no, I'm not surprised. And this is a part of the developmental phase that the Spurs have to go through in order to become the talent that they are destined to become, according to Greg Popovich.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned that. By the way, Tim Gonzalez reaches out to us on our YouTube stream saying that it's not Tuesdays with Teague, it's breakfast time with CT, is what he says.
I know. She didn't even bring us no tacos or nothing.
Nothing. Man, I remember that time that I did a show with her at San Antonio Sports Star, and people were sending us breakfast. I mean, that was amazing. And it only happened with Carolina on there. But the whole aspect there yesterday that I think is kind of funny about the Spurs is that when you get the hopes up from the fan base suddenly has some sort of expectations. And I think that's the positive thing of the Spurs, because the Spurs have 5 wins this month, which is the same amount of wins that they had in October, November, and December combined. So I think that they're turning the corner in the sense that Spurs fans now have more expectations of this team than we did when they were losing 25 in a row. But it's so bizarre to see a player like Sochan go off for over 30 points and then a couple of games later have just 2. It's so bizarre for Julian Champagnie to ball out all towards the end of last season, be given the opportunity to start, and do absolutely nothing with it. There's just no consistency on this team at all. Keldon Johnson, I mean, he had a so-so game. He had a 14-point game. I mean, it wasn't a bad game, wasn't a good game. Dominic Barlow struggled from time to time. It's just this team is so young, and this is where veteran leaders are needed on this team. And that's why you see players like C.D. Osman go off. Why? Because he knows what he's doing. He's a professional player. He has done some battles out there. The question becomes, CT, we're 9 days away from the trade deadline. A lot of Spurs fans, I know Drew is reaching out to us right now saying Pop in the front office won't do anything. But the fact of the matter is that the Spurs front office in recent years, Brian Wright in particular, the last couple of years, they traded Derek White at the trade deadline. They traded Jakob Poeltl at the trade deadline. They traded Thad Young at the trade deadline. So Spurs have actually been very active around this time of year. Do you expect the Spurs to do anything of significance between now and the trade deadline, which is next Thursday?
Out of all the names you mentioned, well, you could say Jakob Poeltl was a name that should be traded, but was he a centerpiece of the team? No. Derek White was a huge trade that was a major talent that the Spurs lost. Was that a huge deal? Yes. Thad Young wasn't playing during the time that he was on the Spurs bench. He didn't get any minutes at all. So it was kind of like a given that he was going to be traded. I expect if they do make a move based off of their previous pattern, I don't think it'll be a big splash. But perhaps, I mean, we might be surprised by Brian Wright. I really don't know what to expect. I mean, this recent pattern that we've been seeing with the Spurs during this rebuild phase, keep bringing it up, is, yeah, they are trading away pieces, but their pattern is they haven't for years and years and years. They've built through the draft. So I'm interested. I'm just as surprised as anybody else. There's no rumors coming out of who could be traded. I mean, they always flirt with certain rumors, like Keldon might be traded, or Doug McDermott might be traded, people like that. But I don't really see any real sources coming out saying this person is going to get traded at the trade deadline. So
we'll see. Carolina, we got a question from the Drew Show. He wants to know, Carolina, how did you get into the wrestling business? Would you take a bump for any reason? How many times has Booker T said, "Can you dig it?" to you?
0 times. Booker has never. Can you dig it? And I got my start into the wrestling business through Brandon Oliver at River City Wrestling, and we're having a show February 22nd. It's the birthday show. It's 23 years of domination in San Antonio. And I am also with Mission Pro Wrestling as well. They also have a show, Sleepless in San Antonio, February 10th. It's women's wrestling. Daniel Castro saying bump. Yes, when I first heard the word bump, I thought the exact same thing as Daniel. You think a bump of the illegal white girl stuff.
He says,
yeah. So that's what a lot of people think if they don't watch wrestling. A bump is where they toss you in the ring. And, I'm open to it. But somebody would really have to piss me off. Somebody would really have to, not somebody would have to piss me off. I would have to make somebody mad enough to want to throw me in the ring. And there has been tension brewing between me and some particular individuals in higher management at a certain promotion. You guys will see more of that soon. I don't want to go public with it just yet. But perhaps I will take a bump if I have to get in somebody's face. I'm not a wrestling full-blown trained graduate, but there are people that I don't mind stepping up to their face. And if I have to take a bump to get my point across, then yeah, I will. Absolutely.
What would your wrestling name be? Remember, I gave you a nickname already. I call you the Chile Pekin.
Well, I'm CT the Mic Slayer in the wrestling world, Carolina Teague. So that's where that comes from. But my wrestling name, I don't know. I don't have one yet. But
maybe we could put it out there to the people, man. Like, what did they come up with for you?
Yeah.
What's your wrestling name gonna be?
I know that'd be a great one. I need to have some good name ideas. But yeah, no, I wouldn't mind getting thrown in the ring for standing up for myself. I'm not afraid of anybody. And I don't care if you're the biggest wrestler in the world. I will say what I have to say. And if I get thrown or tossed or hit for that, then I'm here for it. I'm going to stand up for myself every single time. And like I said, there is tension brewing in the wrestling world with me recently. And you guys will hear more about that soon.
Yeah, there should be a pay-per-view online if you go into
the Y'all got to be there if I take a bump, though.
CT's been trying to get me a body slam for the longest time. Let's go
back.
We'll
go. We'll have to go to one of her wrestling events, and let's see if they can go ahead and slap Mike on the chest, do that to him.
Let's get back to the Spurs. You were mentioning Keldon Johnson. being a potential trade rumor that we see out there. I think that's the biggest name for the Spurs right now. That's the biggest trade chip that they've got right now that I think legitimately the Spurs would entertain offers. I think right now, if the Spurs are being offered anybody for Wemby, obviously they'll say no. I think that if they're being offered anything for Sochan, I think that they have the same fetish that a lot of fans have and see something in him that they'll be like, nah, we want to keep him. But I think the Spurs will answer the phone for Vassell. I think they will answer the phone for Keldon. I think Keldon is the most likely big name to be shipped out because not only is he a decent player, young player, can play multiple positions, but beyond all that, he is on a contract scale that is very manageable and very attractive to those who would want to get him. And it's going to be easier to do certain things like swap salaries and things like that. I think the most likely candidates of getting traded, like if you're to say, Michael, you had to bet $100 which Spur will be gone. Will either of these guys still be here, Doug McDermott or C.D. Osman? One of them's gone, if not both. Mm-hmm. But Keldon, I think, is the biggest name. Do you believe that Keldon's the biggest name, or what do you think is the biggest name the Spurs could potentially get rid of?
The biggest catch would be Keldon, and I would hate to see Keldon leave because he's been such an instrumental part of the city of San Antonio, our culture. He's embraced this city, and we've embraced him back so much. You see all the community work he's done, all the stuff he's done with the boxing community in San Antonio, all the Latinos. He's puro through and through. But I also think there is some type of attractiveness with being able to obtain Keldon to a different team simply because of the fact that, like you said, his contract is manageable. And also it's not like he hasn't shown that he's worthy of being on a team that is winning at the moment and could be somebody who makes big plays, somebody who is a positive light on a team, and somebody who can add value to any team that he goes to. So entertaining the thought of a trade isn't necessarily a bad thing because Keldon brings a lot to the table. And I would hate to see him leave, like I said, but Keldon brings a lot to the table, similar to like Derek White. He left. He was a defensive presence on the Spurs throughout their last playoff run that they had, and he ended up going to the Celtics, and he's been huge there. Everybody loves him. Right. So Keldon is the most attractive piece on the table for me, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if he were to get traded because he is somebody that any NBA team in our country would want to have on their team. He's an absolute positive presence to any team that he goes to.
Yeah, Keldon Johnson is in his 5th season with the San Antonio Spurs, was drafted late in the first round out of Kentucky. That's the same draft that we got Luka Samanic at 17, ended up getting Keldon later on in the draft. Still just 24 years old. This is a guy that's, averaging 16.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And I like the way that you made reference to like a Derek White because I think a lot of the Spurs players are very much like Derek White in the sense that if they play for a good team, they're going to ball out. I think you put Keldon on a good team, he'll play even better. I think you put Vassell on a good team, he'll play even better. The same goes for players like Jeremy Sochan. The question is, can those players be good together? That's the problem. Do those pieces of the puzzle fit together? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I was looking last night. Lonnie Walker had himself a game last night. He's back from his injury.
I think you shared the video too. Or something
Lonnie Walker leaves the Spurs. He talked about the fact that he has a league minimum contract right now up there in Brooklyn, goes out, comes back from injury, and is playing exceptionally well. Yesterday, 27 minutes, 19 points, made 4 3-pointers, 7 of 14 shooting. The guy has an effective shooting percentage of nearly 60%. That's amazing. Knocking down 3-pointers at a 44% clip. And this is a guy that learned his skills in San Antonio, but didn't fit with what Pop was doing. And that's kind of the whole thing about the whole Keldon Johnson situation is, does Keldon Johnson fit what the Spurs are doing? Does Keldon Johnson fit what the Spurs plan on drafting if we do, in fact, have 2 first-rounders this year? Right now, we have a potential of being in the top 4. We also have Toronto's top 6 protected pick. 50-50 chance of us getting it. it could be that the Spurs might be looking out into the future going, we're going to be drafting the replacement anyway. So
they do need people at the guard position. That's a fact. So, I mean, that's something that, Keldon seems like the most obvious piece that they would try to ship around, because people are saying get rid of Zach Collins, get rid of all these players that they don't like. But if I'm thinking from a business perspective and I'm at an NBA team, I want somebody who's going to bring value to the team. And Keldon is one of those people. So it just seems like it's the obvious person that you might want to start shipping around.
Yeah, I hate the fact when I hear on Spurs Twitter, why don't you trade this player and this player because they suck? You do realize that the other teams know that player sucks too, right? It's not a vacuum where it's like a big old secret like, ha, 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 he sucks and only we know. No, they see that Zach Collins is struggling. The others see all that. Keldon Johnson, very manageable contract. His contract gets lower and lower by the year. It starts at like 18 million and gets to 17 and the 16.
You don't think the Spurs did that on purpose? His contract becomes more attractive to trade.
Yeah, and not only that, he is a gold medalist on top of that. That's kind of a big deal.
And I know people are saying like, oh, he's inconsistent. His IQ is not that great. I think any team would want him.
Right. I agree.
Any team would want him because he's not, you've never heard stories about him being a bad presence in the locker room. He doesn't even have a Twitter. He's like low key on social media. He's great with the community. In addition to all the basketball skills he, has on the court, he would be attractive for any team that would want him and has that need to fill on their team. And like you said, with Derek White, when he was with the Spurs, people were constantly saying Derek White was inconsistent with his shooting. Derek White was inconsistent with his defensive presence. And then right before he got traded, the year before he got traded, you saw him emerge as a defensive player as far as being strong as a defensive presence, being able to take charges on the court and showing that he is a force to be reckoned with as far as defense is concerned. And he's thriving in Boston. So you're right, Jimenez, maybe he might not mesh well for a team that the Spurs are trying to obtain a championship with. However, he could very well fit in a championship contending team at the moment. So who knows what would happen.
Hey, I know CT has a hard out here in a couple minutes. So before we go ahead and let her go.
Oh, do you have a hard out at 11 or 11:15?
Yeah, 11.
Give me 11:05.
11:05. Okay, real fast before we go off. Spurs have 3 quick home games before they go on the rodeo road trip. They have Orlando on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. They've got New Orleans on Friday, Cleveland on Saturday. So that's 3 games in 4 nights, all at the Frost Bank Center. Spurs then go on a 9-game road trip. Do not come back until February 29th, Leap Day, on against Oklahoma City here in San Antonio. So Carolina, couple things. We were talking about tall tales over here.
Oh God.
And I don't know if you heard my tall tale yesterday. Did you hear that one?
What was your tall tale?
My tall tale was back in the late 90s, I worked at KSAT 12 and I interviewed Johnny Moore. And we did a big feature, and I was the producer of a show called Instant Replay. And I reported it, I edited it, and all that stuff, and it was voiced by Greg Simmons. And the last thing I asked was, Johnny, do you believe that your jersey belongs in the rafters? And he goes, yes, I hope one day it is. A couple of days later, the Spurs announced that his jersey was going to be retired. I didn't say that I was the reason, but I said I felt like I played part of a role in getting the dominoes falling. Like I was one of the dominoes that fell. Tall tale or not?
It's a tall tale.
Oh my God. I wish I had a graphic that says no mames,
That's a tall tale because I'm sure they have to have those discussions before they make that decision. And 3 days is kind of short, number one. And number two, I think you may have had an idea that they were already going to do this. So therefore you wanted to get ahead of the question and you asked him and then it ended up happening.
Interesting.
That is my theory about this. It's my conspiracy.
Why don't you tell us the tall tale?
Yeah,
we can figure it out.
Is there a Carolina Teague tall tale? A CT the Mike Slayer tall tale?
There is. My tall tale is that I was in a 5-year relationship and nobody believed he existed. Nobody in my family, my friends, they thought he was just like an imaginary character that I made up in my head.
Those are all red flags, by the way.
Yeah.
He never came over for holidays.
No pictures.
No pictures. I mean, there was nothing on MySpace or Facebook.
Well, now looking back, yeah, they're huge red flags. But at the time, I thought I was in a relationship. So
Did he know that he was in the relationship?
Oh, I don't know. I think he
he
was already
did.
in the relationship.
He did. That's the thing. Everybody thought I was in this relationship by myself, and I wasn't. Like, he was really with me.
He went out in public to the game, and he was like, every time the camera would come out on this crowd, he's like, "Get away from me."
He
Get away.
ducks to the side.
That is hysterical.
No, like he literally like he was just really private, and so was I. And he lived here in San Antonio. He no longer lives here, so you guys will never meet him, even if you tried. But yeah, he existed, and then finally one of my friends did see him, and they're like, "Oh my god, he is real," because he came outside of his door, and they were like, "Oh, he is real, actually." So yeah, so only one friend actually saw him.
It's like that cartoon from back in the day from on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Was it Madam Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
Yes.
Yeah. You're really meeting the imaginary friend in real life.
It's like that trope that you see in movies where it's like, I have a girlfriend, but she's from Canada, so you don't know who she is.
A mail order bride.
Yeah. So somebody mentioned one of the tall tales that I told earlier, like months ago, and I want to know if you believe this. That I unknowingly dated a stripper in my early 20s because I believed that she was working for her parents as a receptionist, which she was because I went to her work, but I did not realize that she was moonlighting at night as a stripper.
I believe that. God. Why was she afraid to tell you?
I don't know. Maybe she didn't want me to not date her because of it. I don't know.
I made a tall tale about my wife one time to the family, and they all started laughing because my wife's known as the nerd, the smart one, in her family dynamic. So she's like, "Oh, I used to play tennis when I was back in high school." I was like, "Oh my God, please." So I went ahead and made this tall tale up about her, and I said, "Yeah, she was hustling on the tennis courts because she was trying to get money for books for school or college or something like that." I said her street name was Little Trixie, and everybody started laughing. And they said that was believable. They're like, "Hey, that's a tall tale. That could be like a little, what do you call it? Like a movie that you see on Lifetime or something,
Okay. One last tall tale real fast. But people believe that this is a tall tale that yesterday that I blocked Matt Lerma from Twitter.
My goodness, man.
So I get on Twitter yesterday and, I'm at home. I finished doing the show. I go home and I'm scrolling through and I see a photo of me. It says it shows my dogs, right? And it's like my bio and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it says blocked by Michael Jimenez or whatever. And I thought it was a Photoshop. I thought that Swiss or somebody had come and done a Photoshop to say that I was blocking people. And it was legit. I went onto my block profiles and somehow or another Matt Lerma, who does Twitter Spaces after Spurs games, was blocked.
He's been one of the show's biggest supporters. How you
I know,
brother?
We've gone to Starbucks together. We've
hung
out.
We've
hung out at the Rock to watch a Spurs game with Spernandez. I was on his Twitter Space Friday night after the game. I was talking on it. I have no idea. I think my fat fingers in getting out of the Twitter Space might have double clicked something.
How much did you drink?
I was drinking a lot that night.
Oh, then maybe that's what happened.
But
did you tell him it was an accident?
I did tell him it was an accident, but nobody believes me that it was an accident. I don't know what it was. I remember trying to get off because Chris Leha was also from CTM. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Chris Leha was telling me that he was talking on the space as well. I'm right next to him talking on the space. It felt awkward that I could hear it from both ears. So I'm trying to get off the space and it wouldn't let me off. And I kept on hitting the buttons. I just kept on going like this until I got out. And finally I got out and I must have blocked him.
Jeez.
Shame.
We were pretty drunk. I even came out on the Twitter Spaces. We were pretty hammered already.
I wasn't that bad.
We closed down the AT and we closed down the Frost Center, should I say. They told us to leave 3 times CT. It was already
my God. Get it together. Get it together, guys. But I'm sure we're on the floor seats and stuff. So
Hey, Mike was partaking, man. He was eating a chef prepared salmon dinner, and
First
then he had
time.
at
ice
that game.
cream.
First
Yeah.
time ever eating
wow.
salmon in my entire life.
Yeah, we were at a club that's like at the floor level, at the court level,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it's kind of in the tunnel. It's kind of, if you know, you know, you know. So when you go in there, everything in there's free for real. Like you just get the wristband, you go in there and you just chill.
Yeah.
Real fast. Layhouse Company is CMT, right?
No,
Uh-huh.
MCS.
MCS. Why am I thinking of CMT?
Look, man, you know what? Just for that, we're gonna go ahead and play it, man.
The CT, Carolina Teague. I don't know why it's what CMT is in my head.
CMT.
The letters came
Right
off wrong.
here.
MCS General Contracting. There you go. You want to play it?
Yeah. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Well, I had two of the letters correct, but in the wrong order. We're going to say bye to Carolina Teague in 1 minute real fast, but we now know who's in Super Bowl 58. We've got the Chiefs and the Niners. It's a 1-point spread. The Niners are favored by 1 point. Do you think it's going to be close at all? I mean, what are you expecting out of the Super Bowl right now? First impression. Yeah.
Chiefs win.
One has Mahomes and one doesn't, right?
Right. One has Patrick Mahomes. One's been to the promised land. Well, Niners have been twice in the past 5 years, but I think the Chiefs got them.
CT is not going to be watching the Super Bowl to watch the game. She's going to be looking to see what's going on with Taylor, the Taylor cam.
That's right, baby. That's right.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
No, I don't give a damn about Taylor.
Oh man, you're going to be listening to the pregame show with Posty.
I'm watching the game for sure. Me and Guylan were just talking about that yesterday about our do's and don'ts of the Super Bowl, and I'm watching the game. Trust me, like I'm here to see who's gonna win. I'm gonna be gambling, and I'm gonna be putting up my gambling picks on my podcast League of Our Own. So you guys are gonna see my fun gambling picks that I'm gonna have.
What's the snack spread gonna be like? Because you're always bragging to me before the Super Bowl. Oh, I'm making this, I'm making that. She'll send some pics, and I'm like, damn. What's a brother got to do to get an invite? Like, can I pull up and get a plate?
It's a sad day because my parents, their anniversary is this weekend, and they made a decision to go to the Super Bowl for their anniversary, which is great for them. Sad for me because I always go to my parents' house for the Super Bowl with my sister and my brother and stuff. So we always have like a huge spread. This year, I'm like, what are we gonna do? Because we don't. Do I have to host this party? Because I don't want to host a party. You know what I mean? But if I do host a party, I have to have chicken wings. I have to have I have my big screen TV, volume with my sound bar on high. Yeah, chicken wings, dip, I don't know. I might do sliders, but I don't know what I'm doing for the Super Bowl. I'm lost.
That is Carolina Teague. You can follow her on Twitter /X at CT the Mike Slayer. She's also host of a League of Her Own podcast on YouTube as well. Don't forget to subscribe to that. You want to tell us what you're working on these days?
Yes. So Mission Pro, if you guys want to see women wrestling, they would love for you guys to come out. MissionProWrestling.com. Sleepless in San Antonio, February 10th. It's women's wrestling. Maddie Rankowski, who was a former tag team champion, she's now at the WWE, and so now they have to somebody else is going to have to win that championship, hold that belt. So if you guys want to see future WWE stars, future AEW stars, people on Impact Wrestling TNA, definitely go to see Mission Pro. Sleepless in San Antonio, February 10th. It's going to be off the chain. And then February 22nd, RCW, it's their birthday party, 23 years of domination in San Antonio at River City Wrestling in San Antonio, Texas. So get your tickets at rivercitywrestling.com. And of course, my League of Our Own podcast is coming up soon. And I have a job interview tomorrow for the first time in sports. So I have a sports job interview. So wish me luck.
Good luck with that. CT. Very, very nice.
I'll call you later when I'm on break.
CT, I'm a big fan. Big fan.
All right, CT.
Bye.
We'll
Bye,
see ya.
bro. Bye, brothers. I'll talk to you later next
All
week.
right.
See y'all. Bye.
See you later.
All right.
Hey, big news for Cowboy fans today. Cowboy fans, I know you're disappointed that they got knocked out in the first round, but the Cowboys now have 10 Pro Bowlers because they started out with 7, one of the highest in the NFL, but 3 new names added to the Pro Bowl. So the Cowboys have 10 for the year. Jake Ferguson, the tight end, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Tyler Smith have been added to the Pro Bowl. Smith is going to replace his teammate, Zach Martin. And again, the Cowboys now have 10. I'm taking a look at the other Pro Bowlers that have been added. Jalen Hurts, who struggled towards the end of the season, was added to the Pro Bowl because Brock Purdy's playing in the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott will not take part in the festivities, so Baker Mayfield, who won a playoff game, is now a Pro Bowler. Other names, Jahmyr Gibbs is replacing Christian McCaffrey. Amon-Ra St. Brown is now named as a Pro Bowler. One of the best wide receivers in all of football. He was actually visibly hurt when he didn't make the All-Star, the Pro Bowl, which is the NFL All-Star team, if you will. Looking at any other big names, the Houston Texans added rookie Will Anderson Jr. to the mix. That's nice to see him go on out there as well. So congratulations to the 10 Cowboys who made the Pro Bowl. Speaking of Cowboys, by the way, Trayvon Diggs' brother, Stephon Diggs, was named the replacement for Amari Cooper, who also used to play for the Cowboys back in the day. It was nice having Carolina Teague on. CT's my girl. Again, we're live only on YouTube these days, so we're going to try to do it this way. We had been on Facebook, we had been on Twitter,
Yeah.
but this is really important for us because YouTube provides statistics, and for those of you who don't know, whenever we get our viewing numbers, whether it be Spotify or whatever the case may be, YouTube will tell us where people are watching, how long they're watching for, what segments they're watching, all of that stuff, which helps us get people to sponsor.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Facebook doesn't do that. Twitter does not do that. And it's going to take a while to kind of train our Facebook and Twitter followers and let them know this is now only on the YouTube platform.
YouTube platform. We're saying, man, like, would you guys be opposed to us, like, I don't know, maybe charging 50 cents or something like that to watch the show? I mean, we don't want to go ahead and put you all out, but I mean,
$1 a week,
$1 or something, like, come on, help a brother out.
I mean, because you spend hundreds of dollars on this equipment, like,
yeah, for real,
per
man.
month, man. I don't know how your wife allows you to do all this stuff that you do.
Dude, I work so hard, man. I'm always working. Like, I'm telling you, like, I work like sometimes 12, 15-hour days. I'm working hard, hustling hard, doing all sorts of stuff so we can have equipment here in the studio and be able to pay for bills and help the kids through college. So it's like, just need a little help, It
was funny this morning. I got a haircut. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
Got a haircut this morning. First in line at 9 a.m., man. 9 a.m., I'm in the seat, man. And it takes me only 15 minutes to get a haircut. Thin this hair out because even though I am 46 years old, I still have all or most of my hair, no bald spots that I'm aware of. And the fact of the matter is that the guy that was cutting my hair was like, dude, I listen to your podcast all the time.
Oh gosh.
And that was so cool.
That is cool, man.
He goes, I don't comment. And he was talking about the fact, he goes, but I do see people tip you guys. He goes, that's pretty cool. So
yeah, just like cool. What you tip your barber,
I did. Man, it's so funny. I have friends who spend so much money on haircuts, and I just can't do it. I just can't do it, man. I don't think I could ever spend more than $20 for a haircut. Joe, how much do you spend?
Probably like 20 something a haircut. Because I'm including.
You go to a nicer place.
Yeah, like I'll go to sports clothes. My daughter won't let me go to Knockouts, man. She keeps an eye on. She watches me like a hawk, dude. I'm telling you, like. I'm not scared of my wife. It's my daughter, dude. Like she watches everything I do.
That's funny.
Every single thing. I'm just like, man, this girl, man. I don't know.
There was this haircut place that I used to go to when I worked at Fox 29.
Yeah.
At KBB. And it was called Hair System 7. And it was right next to that bar that I took you the other day. We went to that karaoke bar for a few minutes.
Who's? Yeah.
So it used to be right there in that same shopping center.
Yeah.
And there was a woman there who worked there who was older than me. I was in my 20s.
Of a certain age.
She was of a certain age. She was Stacy's mom who's got it going on.
Oh gosh.
She would give scalp massages, not neck massages. She would give
Hey,
scalp massages.
that's
Dude,
dope, dude.
people would walk out walking slowly, if you know what I mean. And it wasn't anything sexual,
Yeah.
right? But people were walking out with a tripod on. And it
From
was
a scalp massage?
of a scalp massage. It
Oh,
was the
God,
funniest
bro.
thing, man. It was the funniest thing. But dude, I have figured out that I'll never be young again. My goal in life is just not to be old. Just not to be old.
Hey, man, it's at that time when you're getting of a certain age, house is almost paid off, and you enjoy spending time at home, in the home that you outright own.
Right.
It's not a it's not a bad thing, man. Life is good. You could save your money.
Well, part of trying to be young, right now I'm going through a divorce, right? So I'll
Yeah.
probably be officially divorced by summertime. There's a lot of legal stuff that we're doing right now. It's amicable, but there's lots of legal stuff that's going on in my world, right? Trying to get guardianship of my son, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I have made it as a goal for this year to basically be happy in some respect. And what makes me happy is spending time with friends. What makes me happy is traveling.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely travel.
I didn't realize how much time I missed with my friends when I was married. Part of it was because I wanted to spend time with my significant other, but the other part of it was that she didn't want to spend time with my friends ever. And now I'm kind of reconnecting with friends, and it's probably about 4 or 5 friends that I've reconnected with over the past 6 months or so. And I have made it a goal to go on trips this year. I love going on trips. And when I say going on trips, I'm not saying 2-week vacations or spending a lot of money. But I mean, I'm talking about the Southwest Airlines,
Want to get away.
the want to get away $90 trip, the Spirit
Yeah.
Airlines. By the way, if you ever look for a flight, go to googleflights.com. They're not a sponsor.
Really?
But
I'm gonna check them out.
googleflights.com will actually do this thing where you'll take Delta and then you'll take, I don't know, United, and then you'll take Southwest Airlines. They mix and match it so that it's cheaper for you. It's actually pretty interesting. But I made a list. So yesterday I posted it on Twitter. It's kind of like my New Year's resolution. I want to travel. So I put down 10 things that I want to do this year, 10 trips that I want to go to. One of them I've already booked. I want to go to Vegas for March Madness, right?
Yeah.
I want to go visit my daughter in Baton Rouge, go to a concert in New Orleans, just something like that. I want to go with my daughter for her 21st birthday to Vegas. The long shot one is, funny calling the long shot, I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. I've always wanted to go. I want to take my kids on some trip during the during like a water park or something like that, but like someplace like in Austin or Dallas. I'd like to go visit my cousins in California, maybe do some fishing or some hiking or something like that, right? Want to go to a Saints game this year. Life is too short to just hit the 9 to 5 and not do shit.
True enough, dude.
And I have found that that's kind of what my life had turned into, which was we didn't do shit. We'd go out, we'd go on vacations, but we didn't do shit, on a Saturday or on a Sunday, other than watch Netflix all day long.
Netflix and chill.
And I'm tired of that. So I'm looking forward to the new chapters of my life, and part of it's going to be going out and go do something. So we have a hand of a fist says, same MJ, I don't take vacays, I do weekenders. That's right. Hand of a fist also says, goals and rewards are something to look forward to.
Yes, sir. I was just checking out that Google Flights, man, and I was looking because I want to go visit my sister-in-law over in Maryland.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law and brother-in-law, man, they got a nice spread over there in Maryland.
Yeah.
And Maryland's a nice place to hang out, dude.
What part of Maryland?
Ellicott City is where they live, but Baltimore is not like that far away.
Yeah, you flying to BWI?
Yeah, and you can still, you're about like, I think an hour and a half, 2 hours away from New York. If you want to go out there and just do a day trip kind of thing. So everything's like kind of in striking distance, but hanging out there and like going down to the old downtown in Maryland, checking out the bay, that area that they have out there and all that, where they have all the sports venues, where they have the Baltimore Ravens, Baltimore Orioles play. The stadiums are close to, in close proximity to one another. It's just a nice place to hang out,
I don't think people realize that about the East Coast, because we live in Texas,
Yeah.
where everything's all spread out, and you can go 800 miles and still be in the same state if you go east to west.
Yeah.
You go to DC. DC and Baltimore are separated by 30 minutes.
Hey, man, I've been to DC. DC's a nice place to hang out.
It's
too.
a nice place to hang out. I love it there. I did some business in DC years ago, and I was like, wow, in 3 hours, which to me is San Antonio to Houston.
Yeah, less than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, in 3 hours, I can make my way from Washington, D.C. to like Atlantic City. I had never been to Atlantic City before. I wanted to go to New Jersey and check that out. So I drove from Washington, D.C. to over there. And this had to have been around 2005, 2006. And I was like, I need to find a casino. But I don't know any of the casinos over there. This was kind of pre-iPhone. You're driving around with a map.
The paper map.
And you're going all the way over there. You've got your map quest, out. And I go to Trump Tower over there in the Trump Casino, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Dude, I had never smelled such a bad smelling hotel in my entire life. And the reason why I went to that hotel was because the movie Rounders with Matt Damon and Edward Norton, John Turturro, was filmed at that place. I was really big into poker.
Yeah.
I wanted to go there.
What did the place smell like?
It smelled like piss.
Oh.
It smelled like piss and salt water.
Nah, that's nasty, dude.
Now outside, the water coming in outside the Jersey Shore, it didn't smell like Corpus. It didn't smell like San Diego. It didn't smell like,
clean,
California
salty
Beach.
water.
It smelled like shit. It was ugly. It was a weird humidity. Everything seemed to be off about that place. Like just the air pressure, all of it seemed to be off. And then I go inside the casino. The Trump Casino looked elegant from the outside.
Yeah.
You walk in and it was a Motel 6, dude.
And it's trashy.
It was a Motel 6 on the inside. But from the outside, looked amazing. I checked out a couple other casinos there. Oddly enough, the Trump Casino was the best of the three, but it just wasn't that good. It was like, you were reminded me of back in the day, I used to go to Vegas, and there used to be a hotel called the Imperial Palace.
Oh, man.
Which got bulldozed.
Yeah, it's in the older part of Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of those old 1950s, 1960s casinos, and it was just nasty.
Man, I always see you keep on like squirming in those chairs, bro. I'm looking to get new stools, man, because I just saw my boys over at that office place I go to. They have these nice looking stools over there that are padded. They swivel.
Yeah,
I think we need some of those here in the studio, man.
Tim Gonzalez is reaching out to us asking why we're not watching or talking a lot about college basketball right now.
We will be talking a lot about college basketball, and I have just the guy to come on the show and talk basketball with us, and that's my good friend Benjamin Bornstein. He is the aficionado when it comes to everything and anything that has to do with college basketball and NBA prospects. So we're going to definitely get him on the show probably either this week or next week. We just got to find a time that'll work for both of us.
Well, what's interesting about college basketball right now, as I'm watching it, Texas Longhorns right now are on the bubble. Was checking out Jerry Palm's bracketology on CBS Sports.
Yeah.
And they say that the Texas Longhorns are one of the 4 bubble teams as to whether or not they're going to get in. They lost yesterday again to Houston yesterday. They're 3-5 in the Big 12. It's going to be difficult for them to get in.
Yeah. You know what? I saw this is interesting to me. I'm just looking at Twitter, the X, as we're doing the show. And NBA, top selling NBA merchandise. And full disclosure, I'm just pulling this off of our friend here, Ty Yeager's Twitter feed.
Well, it's also Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs, also wrote about it.
Yeah. So I'm just saying where I'm getting it from. And Ty put this up there, and it says like top selling NBA merchandise. So it has the merchandise listed from the teams going from 1 through 10. And at number 9, it's the San Antonio Spurs as far as merchandise goes.
Yeah.
Then you go over here, and I'm looking at another, official NBA posting here on Twitter, on the X. And they said top selling NBA jerseys. Number 1, Steph Curry.
Makes sense.
At number 4, none other than San Antonio Spurs' own rookie, Victor Wembanyama makes the top 4.
Well, who are 2 and 3?
2 and 3, number 2 is Jason Tatum. Number 3, no surprise, LeBron James. But at 4, Victor Wembanyama, he beat out Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I am not surprised. I kind of expected this because of all the fanfare that he got, and he's balling out. People do see what he's capable of. I think that there was this belief earlier in the season when the Spurs were losing 20 plus games in a row that he was going to be a flop. He was on a minutes restriction for a while there. But I think the tide has turned a little bit. I think the January that he's been putting up there, where he's probably had 20 or more points, probably in 80% of the games this month. He had his first triple-double. People do see him as being the next future superstar. So you want to get ahead of the curve, and you want to get that jersey and rock that jersey early. I mean, I don't see any surprise when it comes to that. Steph Curry being number 1. I mean, dude, I go to basketball courts right now because I referee basketball tonight. I'm at Stevens High School refereeing games.
Yeah.
They idolize Steph Curry. I think when you look at like young kids between the ages of say 10 and 20, they're not idolizing LeBron James. Their guy is Steph. And that is why Steph is going to be, when it's all said and done, a top 10 player of all time. Yeah. I think Steph Curry is probably a bigger and greater player than Kobe Bryant ever was.
I think Steph Curry is going to go down as the greatest shooter in NBA history.
Most definitely.
Hey, you know what? We need to get Hector Ledesma as a guest on the show.
Yeah.
I always follow him, and I love what he posts from The Rock, from Spurs practice.
Yeah. And
he's showing video here on his Twitter, or on the X.
Boris Diaw.
Boris Diaw in uniform doing some work with Mamu. And he goes to, on the court, and he's trying to show him
he was doing old man moves.
He's on the court. He's going up against Mamu at the Spurs practice facility. I was like, you love to see it, man. I like this. We need to get Hector on so we can ask him some questions. Like, what are you seeing out there, man?
I mean, that's all fine and good, but the fact of the matter is that we don't have any players that are worth a damn.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying when you see the OGs, like, Boris hanging around, hey, man, it's cool to see them kind of trying to impart some knowledge to this young squad, because maybe the old guys are like, man, look what's happened to the house since we left, since we sold it to the new tenant.
That's funny. Tomorrow, the Western Conference All-Stars will be announced. We already know who the starters are going to be.
Yeah.
But on TNT, they're going to announce who the reserves are going to be. The odds of Victor Wembanyama being listed as a reserve are very, very, very slim. In fact, when you take a look at, NBA.com, for example, when they're talking about who they believe are going to be the reserves, they look at names like Devin Booker, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Anthony Davis. They look at players like that, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Wemby is not going to be named a reserve. He's not. The question becomes, is he going to be a replacement? And I saw an article on, I think it was Bleacher Report, that was talking about who they believe were the replacements. I mean, who they thought reserves were going to be. But when it came to the replacements, out of the 6 names that they said could be possible replacements, one of them was Victor Wembanyama. 20.5 points per game, 10.2 rebounds, averaging over 3 blocks, 4 assists, getting better, had his first triple-double. I don't necessarily think that he has done enough to deserve it. I would have loved for him to have had 2 huge games to end, those back-to-back games this past weekend against Charlotte, against Minnesota. I would have liked, Portland and then Minnesota. I would have liked for him to have gone out there and boom, 35-point game, boom, 30-point game. Now averaging 21 points per game. Make it so that they have no reason to overlook you if a replacement is needed.
Yeah.
But I don't think he did. He didn't stick the landing. He's had 2 games in a row of 20 and 10, which is fine. 20, 10, and 3 blocks, which is fine. Very, very good. But he did not stick the landing at the end. And therefore, I don't think he's going to make it.
We'll see, man. Maybe somebody decides to, hey, I'm not going to go, and maybe he'll be the backup.
Right, but I mean, even as a replacement, there would probably need to be about 3 replacements.
True enough, man.
Yeah.
True enough. But it's also up to the commissioner as well. He has a say in things. So we'll see what happens, man.
Having the number 4 most sold jersey,
it's good for business, bro.
It's good for business. I mean, don't be wrong. Domantas Sabonis deserves it more than Victor Wembanyama. But who the hell is Domantas Sabonis?
Yeah, he's not one of these guys that just jumps out at you, No, who wants to see him, man?
Yeah,
They
no
want
one
to see
does.
Wemby. They want to see Wemby. The kids want to see Wemby, man. Hey, you know what? I just saw this right now. Breaking news from Bleacher Report. They posted this 8 minutes ago. Kristen Juskis, or I don't know how you say her name, Juski, or how do you say it? The girl that designs all the jackets.
By the way, her husband was just named to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, her husband was. But she gets a licensing deal with the NFL.
Nice.
And will be able to legally use the team logos and her clothing designs per Sportico.
I think the name is Juszczyk.
Juszczyk, yeah, something like that.
I believe. And she has gotten a lot of run, a lot of pub the past month or so, because she has basically done this thing where she is creating women's apparel for the NFL that is sexy.
And is she a designer?
Yes.
I mean, because the girl does great work.
Yeah. So she was basically saying, women make up the highest percentage of growing fans. And this was before the Taylor Swift effect.
Yeah.
You go to an NFL game, 48% of the people there are women. And they're not there oftentimes to go support their guy. They go as fans.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a good friend of ours, Val. She's a huge Texans fan.
Oh yeah.
She hosts a viewing party for her girlfriends to watch the Texans. Carolina Teague. The idea that women like sports is a thing, and that like football is a big thing.
They're passionate about it too.
And they are.
Yeah.
And this is before the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing. But the thing is that the clothing that they have is designed, it looks like by dudes.
Just a regular t-shirt.
It's a regular t-shirt, or it's like a
V-neck.
It's a jersey with a V-neck, right? Yeah. And women are coming out saying, look, man, we want to look good out there. We don't want to look like a fan. We want to look hot out there. And Juszczyk's wife, Kristen, right? Is her name?
Kristen Juszczyk,
is creating these images, these outfits that are sexy. That if your girl can rock that outfit, you'd want her to rock that outfit. Even if it's cowboy colors, Texans colors, Saints colors, doesn't matter. Juszczyk's designs are either a sexy or very classy or very elegant. It's not the whole let's go to Academy Sports and go get a jersey, babe.
And I think the appeal with Juszczyk's designs is that they're unique. It's not something that you're just going to get off the shelf.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe she's found her niche there, making clothing, or for the NFL. Now that she can officially use the logos, she's licensed to use them. She can actually open her own store, online store, and sell.
She designed for Taylor Swift the 87 jacket when it was like, negative 25-degree wind chill. That famous jacket. She also designed the ones that she's been wearing to games because her husband plays for the Niners.
Yeah.
She wears to games and it looks sweet.
It looks classy.
It looks classy and sexy. It looks nice. And it is tailored for women. It's clothing for women by women. And it's sports gear. And dude, if I had a girl that wanted to wear that, I'd be all about it, dude. I'd be all about it. Spurs back in action tomorrow against Paolo Banchero and the Orlando Magic.
They got a bad record, man.
Paolo Banchero is considered to be an all-star this year. He should be named as one of the reserves tomorrow. Orlando Magic have been getting better. Right now they are a 500 team or just above it, 24-23.
Yeah.
So the Spurs have 3 games in 4 nights, and then they're gone for basically a month.
On the rodeo road trip, dude. That's going to be brutal, man. I don't even know how many wins they're going to be able to ink out on the rodeo road trip. I was actually talking with Jeff and telling him, man, prepare yourself. It could be a winless road trip, but we'll see.
Drew Show says Mike's son Sochan gets up for Banchero. It's funny we talk about Sochan for a couple of things. Sochan, I'm not going to give him shit for having just 2 points yesterday. I'm not. I'll give him shit if he does it again. Okay? He played well back-to-back games. Not going to give him shit today.
Maybe the kid was tired, man.
Maybe so. I mean, that Minnesota matchup defensively was awful for him.
Yeah.
I would be impressed if he could lock down Banchero, who was, as David Otwater points out, Rookie of the Year last year. And as Tim goes out, Blue Devils family. That's right. But Banchero, man, you take a look at him. He is an old school type of player, man. He plays like Magic Johnson. He plays like he belongs in the 80s. It's fun to watch him play.
Hey, we're talking about, Victor Wembanyama trying to make it into the NBA All-Star game, but we haven't mentioned that Dominic Barlow is headed to Indianapolis with the Austin Spurs
for the G League.
Yeah, the two-way forward is a G League selection to play in the G League up next game presented by AT&T during the NBA All-Star game. So congratulations to Dominic Barlow.
Very, very cool. Again, the Spurs tomorrow, Orlando, Victor Wembanyama. I'm reading that story right now on Sports Illustrated about how he's the 4th ranked jersey sale right now. If there's anything that would get him going, it's the popularity. I can justify 20.5 points per game, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks, and go 4 assists and go, that guy's an all-star. You can justify it. Do I think he deserves it? No. But we can justify it, and I'd be happy if he does make it. Everyone have a great day today. My name's Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. Share what we do. Thank you for subscribing. Hit the like button on the way out. I'm going to take some Claritin in the morning tomorrow because I feel like trash, but we made it through another show. This has been fun. See you guys tomorrow.